Do you resist planning in your business? Perhaps you can't find the time or you simply don't know where to start. In today's episode of the Powerful Content Podcast, we're going to help you find an easy way to plan for your business's future growth. Dr. Destini Copp, business coach for digital product entrepreneurs, joins me to break down the planning process into simple steps so even the most resistant of planners can create action and growth in their business. Destiny has used planning in her life to maintain the growth and success of not one, but four different businesses. And she's super passionate about helping other entrepreneurs to do the same. Stick around because in this episode, Destiny will explain the importance of planning in business growth and success and give you the four things that you need to plan, how to make it simple, the only three goals you'll need to create momentum and growth, and consistency, and how it contributes to planning and business success. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So, if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 135 of the Powerful Content Podcast. Now, as you know, today we are talking about planning and how it can grow your business with Dr. Destini Copp. Welcome to the show, Destiny.
Thank you so much for having me, Mel. I am super excited to chat with you, and I'm extremely passionate about the subject that we're going to be talking about today. Because quite frankly, I've struggled with it for many, many years. So, just putting together a system that works for me is being a really life-changing for me.
And I cannot wait to hear your advice and your wisdom around planning as well, because I know so many of my listeners feel a little bit of resistance when it comes to planning. Now, I know that they're going to love it and I know that they're going to get so much value out of it. But before we actually kick off our discussion about planning, Destiny, I would love to know more about how you got to the place where you are today, because I know that your story around entrepreneurship and building your business is really common. It's around wanting to have flexibility and freedom in our life and creating something that we think is going to give us that. But then we have that moment of realization where we go, oh my goodness, that is not what I have created here. It's far from flexible and it's far from giving me the freedom that I actually desire. So I'd love to know, how did that realization for you come about and how did it shape the direction that you've gone?
Yeah. So, as most people probably listening, I've had a really winding road in my career, corporate marketing, higher education. And, at one point, just really, after I'd been in higher education for many years, I hadn't left corporate marketing a long time ago, went into higher education. And I've always had the burning desire, right, to own my own business, to be my own boss. And I was like, you know what? I just got to take the plunge. And that's what I did back in 2017, 2018. I just took the plunge, started my own business. And I just, when you're starting a business like that, right? And right, I think we all jump into it and we think it's going to be different than reality. So what I was
True.
doing initially was service work. So I was a Facebook ads consultant and really, doing that one-on-one type service work that I think a lot of us start out doing when we go into these businesses. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because that's one of the easiest ways to get started. So there's nothing wrong with what I did or what other people are doing. But what happened to me is we were on vacation. We were in 30A watercolor, Florida. So if anybody has ever been there, I mean, the beaches are clear. I mean, the water, you can see right through it. It is just a wonderful place to be. And I had a client on that vacation whose Facebook ads were not performing as well as he thought they should be. Facebook ads can be kind of wonky at times. And he was just adamant that I fixed it right then. So my family was going down to the beach and I had to stay back and basically redo that whole Facebook ads campaign. And I came back from that vacation and I said, never again. I'm not doing that. And that's when I went all in on my digital products business. And it did change my life. And right now, I am almost 100% digital products. I'm also doing some one-on-one coaching, but majority of my revenue right now is from low-cost digital products. And I just want to emphasize that a lot of people think you can't make money with the low-cost digital products, but you can. And there's a lot of different ways that you can sell them. And that's what I'm doing today. I have several different brands and businesses that I own. One is Hobby School, where we run online learning virtual summits. And I also have 2 Shopify stores where I sell digital products. And then I have my personal brand where I do the one-on-one coaching there.
Oh my goodness, so many different parts of your businesses there. And I think that this is a really great example as well of how or why we need to have planning in our life, not just our business, our lives as well. Trying to put all of those pieces together at the same time. So let's talk about planning, if we can, Destiny. And what are we actually planning for when we talk about planning for our business? I don't know how to ask this question without kind of, giving away the content side of things because I'm all about content planning. But besides content, what other things are we actually planning for in our business?
So you're probably not going to believe the answer that I'm going to give you. And I'm going to, kind of bring this back to what I do from a planning standpoint, which is not much, to be honest with you.
Great. We love
And
that.
yes, I have gone to where, in the corporate world, we did, planning. We would do it for a month, at least a full month with all these meetings, all these going back and forth. That just doesn't work, quite frankly. And it didn't work then, right, in the corporate world. And it's certainly not going to work for us as online business owners. So for me, I'm not doing a lot of planning. There's a few certain things that I focus on with my planning. And, I revisit them every single month, but I'm not doing much there. And I will go into details if you want me to expand upon it a little bit more.
I would love you to. I would love to know, what are those high level things that you are looking at? And then you also mentioned something that you're going back in and checking them. So I'm guessing planning, there's a second part of planning, and it's the measurement and the analytics and the tracking side of things. But what do you actually plan for in your business?
So for the upcoming year, and I generally do this in October because I think that's the best time to do it, because what we're doing now in our business is going to affect our result 3 months down the road. So I like to start planning in October for the upcoming year, because I know that that's, you got to start working on it now so you can have good results in January. But what I focus on, one of the first things I do is put together my goals for the upcoming year. And these are really the big goals. So it'd be like a revenue goal. It might be audience building, like how, what do I want to do with my email list? It might be breaking down the revenue into the different categories. Like, for instance, what would I want in my one-on-one coaching versus what do I want in hobby school versus what do I want to sell from the, in the Shopify stores for the digital products. So, kind of breaking that down. The other thing that I plan for, is my promotional plan. And I think this is something that a lot of people overlook. And really, that's just looking at, what are you going to be promoting? This could be an affiliate promotion that you're going to do. So I do every single year, there's one big affiliate that I really focus on. And that's, always put that on my promotional plan. It might be something that I'm personally launching. So like in Hobby School, we do those online learning virtual summits. This year, we have 6 of them planned. So I lay those out in terms of when we're going to have those. It might be a product launch that I'm doing. So it might be something, like an online course or membership that somebody's wanting to launch. So anything that you're going to be promoting, high level, I would flake those in when you're planning for the upcoming year. And the other thing I do is plan out my content. Now, for me, that's my podcast. For somebody else, it might be something different. It might be blogs that they're going to write. It might be, YouTube videos that they're going to do, or, whatever type of content they create, that's what I would put. And I have this spreadsheet that I use, and like I said, it is super, super simple. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you about this. It is so simple. You're gonna think that's all you do. And seriously, this is all I do for all my businesses. In the spreadsheet, I have my promotional plan laid out. I have my content plan in there. And then for every single week, I have all of that laid out. So I know when I'm promoting that week and, my content, so my podcast episode that'll be going out, and I use that to write my email newsletter. And then I'm gonna have some other placeholders in there, like if I'm gonna be doing like a flash sale in one of my Shopify stores, which would be additional emails, right? It wouldn't be my weekly newsletter necessarily. I would have some placeholders in there for that. It is literally that simple for me, and that works. And nothing else was working for me, but that was working.
I love that so much, Destiny, because I think that when people think of planning or hear the word planning, they think that it's going to take all of this time and all of this effort, and you have to do all of the things. But you've just suggested there to look at four things, and I love these four things. First of all, your goals. What do you actually want to achieve?
Yeah.
The second being your revenue or the financial breakdown. The third being your promotional plan. And like you said, so many people miss this step out. And I think it's such a vital piece because we're not getting to the middle of the year and going, oh, I haven't launched my program this year. I haven't launched my course this year, or I haven't done this particular promotion this year. I haven't focused on this. And it almost becomes too late. So that's pre-preparation, being proactive about the promotional plan. Love that so much. And then of course I love the content planning as well. But just that simple step of writing out the ideas or the topics that you're actually going to talk about in your blog, your podcast, your video, whatever it might be, that meaty piece of binge-worthy content, just writing that out and having an idea is just such a relief. It's such a relief. I cannot describe for me the days where I feel like I'm chasing my tail or, being reactive is a very, very different energy to knowing that I have everything planned out. So I love how you do that so much. And the fact that they feed into your emails as well. My goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, I have them all laid out. It doesn't mean that they don't change, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna make tweaks here and there, but it's all laid out and you have a general idea of what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah. So all those people out there who are thinking to themselves, I don't have time to plan. I think that you have just shown us in a nutshell that it doesn't have to be this big process. It can be something that is fairly simple and might even just take out one day. You mentioned earlier that you love to plan around October. And I think that this is really unusual. I don't hear a lot of people talking or thinking about goal setting or planning until they get to the very end of the year. Now, here in Australia, that is a very busy time of year. Not only do we have Christmas, but we actually have the summer holidays. So we're often off in holiday mode from the time the 1st of January comes around. So doing it in October, I think is rather unusual, but is very beneficial as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what you're working on now, for the most part, is going to benefit you three months down the road. So whether you're working on maybe a new product launch, or maybe you're batching your podcast episodes, or maybe you are planning out or getting into the details of your promotional calendar and figuring out exactly what you're going to be doing there. What you're working on today is going to help drive your revenue 3 months down the road. And that's why I really do like starting it in October, because I think it really sets me up for that upcoming year. Like we always run in our hobby school brand, we run a huge event in January. So we're actually starting to recruit speakers and everything for that in the next couple of months. So, but definitely we'll be planning for that event and everything we'll be doing for that event in October, no doubt about it.
Yeah, awesome. So now that we've planned, we've know the things that we want to actually plan for, the goals, the revenue, the promotions, the content. What is the benefits of planning versus just winging it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that for me, one of the biggest benefits of planning is knowing what I need to focus on. And really, it keeps me away from those shiny objects and getting like distracted on things that aren't going to move the needle forward for me. So, with me, I know exactly what I need to be focused on in every single brand that I'm working on. So I know that for like, and I'll just use the Hello Content Shop as an example. I know that for my Hello Content Shop, we are focused on SEO, we are focused on Pinterest. And that is, those are the goals. That's what we're focused on there. And I really don't do outside of that and outside of some of our flash sales and what we do there. I don't do a lot in that particular brand. And I think, quite frankly, if I did, it would distract me from my long-term goals and focus on SEO and Pinterest in that brand.
And I love how planning can give you that actual focus because where we have focus, we have action, and where we have action, we have momentum. So we're more likely to achieve things and actually move forward in our business. I think that sometimes perhaps you could speak to this, Destiny, that some people feel stuck in their business and they feel like, they're not getting the revenue that they dream or that they wish for. And that may actually be a result of not being a little bit more proactive and not having that planning process in place.
Yeah, I think you got to know exactly what your levers are. And if you know what your levers are, which tie back into your goal, right? If you know what those are, it will help you achieve whatever goals you have set up, whether that's revenue goals, whether that audience building goal, you know, in my case for the Hello Content Shop, right? We're focused on SEO and Pinterest there and to really drive that long-term strategy there. And if you don't know what your goals are, you're not going to be able to achieve those revenue goals and you're not going to be focused on the things that will actually help you move the needle forward.
So would you actually say that knowing your goals or setting your goals is probably the priority when it comes to the planning process?
I think you got to know what they are, right? So let's just say that you have, well, let's just break it down, right? We might as well. Let's just say that your revenue goal is 10,000 a month. So that's what you want to get to. You want that consistent $10,000 a month revenue. Then I think you have to break it down how you're going to get there, whether that's going to be through an event that you're doing, whether that's going to be through like coaching, coaching on an ongoing basis that you're doing with people like retainer type clients. If it's going to be, maybe it's going to be partly service work. So maybe you're going to have to break it down into different buckets. Maybe it's going to be a sales funnel that you set up and drive traffic to. You have to know how you're going to break down all of those buckets and the levers that you're going to pull to, achieve that revenue.
Yeah, 100%. And it's probably something a lot of people don't think about. I think, Destiny, is they have in their mind this magical figure. Like you said, it might be a 10K month, it might be a 5K month, might be a 2K month, whatever it is. But they don't actually think about, well, what will it actually take for me to able to generate that particular amount of revenue. They just have this wish or this dream, but don't have the actual mechanisms to get there. So I love the fact that you need to break it down and not just wish or just dream, but let's break it down and let's be really specific so we can be actionable about it. Love that. Now, if there's anyone out there who's listening to all of this, Destiny, and going, oh my goodness, I just can't. I can't plan. I can't do this. I can't bring myself to do it. What tips or suggestions would you have for them who's someone who's feeling that resistance?
I would say that I would first start with your main goal. And I would just start with one. If you're really, really struggling with it, I would start with one main goal and then break down what you need to do to get that. So let's just say that you're just beginning, you're just starting out, and really your main goal is just building an email list, which I think's a really great place to start, quite frankly, for somebody who is just getting started. That's where I would suggest most people start, is building that email list. So then break it down. You can even go to Chat GPT, and I use Chat GPT all the time for stuff like this. Go to Chat GPT and say, this is my goal. So maybe it's getting, 1,000 people on your email list, and ask ChatGPT to break that down for you into small, actionable steps. What it may come back to you and say, and this is, what I would say to somebody if they were starting out there, one of the first things you'll need to do is, you know, create a lead magnet. Then you'll need to build the landing page. Then you'll need to connect it to your email service provider. And then you'll need to create your email welcome sequence. And then once you get all that set up and you test it, then you'll need to drive traffic to it. So maybe you want to go speak at virtual summit. Then maybe you want to be a guest on somebody's podcast or, or maybe you want to participate in a bundle. So it can help you if you're really, really stuck. It can help you break it down into those actionable steps so you can actually achieve that goal.
I have never heard of using AI to help you with your goals, Destiny. That is such an amazing idea. AI is such a great tool to use in our business to help us get the ideas flowing, to get the
Hmm.
momentum happening, the steps to do something. I never thought about using it for my goals and breaking down a goal. I love that tip. And I think that just starting small, like you said, is just the best way to do anything, really. If we're making a change in our life or changing a habit, to be able to just take those small steps, I think is fantastic advice too. So, what are some of the common things that people do wrong or mistakes they might actually make when they're going through this planning process? I'm assuming that it's not starting with goals would be one of them.
Well, honestly, I think the biggest mistake that most of us make is making too many goals, right? Too
Yeah.
many that we don't have the time or capacity to really focus on all of them. And that's why I would suggest people start with just a couple, three at most, quite frankly, would be enough for most people. And for most of us, the buckets are going to be the audience building, right? Whether that's email list or just audience building in general, it's going to be your revenue goals, and breaking that down. And if you focus on those two, the next one, if you have the capacity for it, I would say to focus on the content that you're going to be creating to build that know, like, and trust factor. But first, I would start with the audience building. Once you get that, then focus on your revenue goals because we're all in business, right? That's what we're here to do, is make money. Then move to the content. And between those three, that's going to keep most of us busy, quite frankly, for the entire year.
So true. It certainly will. It certainly will. So yeah, those three things again were audience, revenue, and content. So looking at those three at most and setting a goal around each of those and breaking it down into steps that you can action. Love it so much then. Now, you mentioned briefly before AI. Are there any other tools or resources that you can suggest that can help us to plan?
And I think this is all individual, right? I found a spreadsheet worked great for me to kind of set up my, promotional calendar, my email calendar, and content all in one. And then, I use spreadsheets too for the, tracking that revenue. But I will tell you, there's some people out there, they just don't like spreadsheets. They're more visual. If that's the case, I would go to a planner or even, one that you've created. That there's tons of planners out there too that you can use for something like this. But I really think it's individual in really finding the stone that works for you. The only thing I would say is just keep it as simple as you possibly can, because the more simple it is, the more likely you will be to be consistent with it.
Yes, absolutely. And use it as well. Because there are so many different systems out there that you can use, from the project management tools like Asana and Trello. There's now ClickUp, there's Notion, there's Monday. There are so many different systems. But you know what? I'm quite partial to a spreadsheet as well, Destiny.
spreadsheet woman myself. So yeah, it's whatever is your strength, whatever suits the way that your brain functions, so that you will actually use it and you will actually be consistent with it and follow through on the actions that you need to. Great advice. I love it so much. I also know that you have a bundle coming up because I happen to be participating in it, Destiny, which is rather exciting. So do you want to just tell my audience a little bit more about this bundle that's coming up? Yeah, I'm super, super excited about it. It's the second year that we're doing it. I brought it back because it was so popular last year, and it's our 2025 business planning prep kit. And in this bundle, there's going to be a ton of free resources, not only to help you plan for the upcoming year, but also to help you achieve those goals that you have set. So we have a ton of resources in all various type of categories to help you get there. So definitely check out the link. I know you're going to give that to them. So we want everybody who wants to have the opportunity to sign up for that. Fantastic. And you can grab my super simple one-page content strategy as part of this bundle that I'm giving away. So you can really step into 2025 with your content already sorted. And I think that it's a great example of what we were talking about today. It's very simple. It's one page. It's high level. It's there to help you really focus on your goals and what you want to achieve with your content in 2025, and then take the actions to make it happen. So thank you so much for having me as part of the bundle, Destiny. I appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see the other resources in there as well, just quietly. It's rather exciting. Now, Destiny, I love to finish all of my episodes with a question about superpowers. I'm all about women owning and using their superpowers. So what would you say is your superpower? Well, kind of going back to what we discussed earlier about what drove me into focusing on digital products in my business. And my superpower is definitely helping online business owners in empowering them to build a digital product business that gives them the freedom that they want and the income that they need. So that is what I am super passionate about it. I have built these brands around this concept. I am very particular about my time and how I spend it. And I know that, we all should be, right? We all have families and we don't want our work in these businesses that we have created to be all consuming. Such a super special power to have, Destiny. Thank you for sharing that with us. And do you have any final parting words of wisdom? Going back, it is something that you said earlier, just really, kind of jumped out to me. And I completely agree with it. And I would say that consistency trumps everything. So the more consistent that we all are, and I'll put myself in this category because it's not easy, right? It's not easy to be consistent with our content. It's not easy to be consistent with our email marketing and emailing our list. It's not easy to be, or, if you're on social media, I'm not really on social media that much, but if you're on social media and that's where you are posting your content and where you are, being consistent with that is so very important. So consistency trumps everything. I know I don't remember the exact number or what, even where I heard this from, but, people who started podcasts several years ago, a lot of them aren't doing it now. So if you have a podcast that you're being consistent with, which I know you are, and I know that I am, as much as I can, it pays off for us, right? When we're consistent with that and consistent with our email marketing, and you will stay on top of people's mind when you're consistent like that. Oh my goodness, I couldn't agree with that anymore, Destiny. Such a brilliant way to end the podcast episode. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing your wisdom with my listeners. I truly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.